Hey guys, it's Tracy, Kansas Garden Guy here. Hey, it's been a couple weeks since I've talked to you guys, so I thought maybe I would do a video today. Got a couple pieces of equipment to take these videos with, new, got them in the mail. As you can see, I'm using one of them, which is my gimbal mount, so I can kind of do this a little cinematically now, I guess. Kind of cinema pictures and videos and stuff, so maybe it'll be a little more interesting for you guys to watch. Right now, we're just going to take a walk up to the garden, and we're going to see what's going on. I haven't made a video in the last couple weeks because I've been doing a lot of planting. As you know, we grew a lot of seedlings from start, so we've been really busy, hardcore, trying to get this stuff planted in between all the rains and everything, and my apologies on that. I probably should have made a video to show some of the stuff we had planted so you all could see that. I didn't do that. It's kind of my bad. But I'm going to do the official garden tour of 2020 today. It's probably going to be a pretty long video. So you guys just stick with me and we'll make it through it together. Okay, first of all, I wanted to show you a couple things. I don't remember if I showed you it's starting to rain right now. They said it was going to start raining. But anyway, we're going to try to make this quick. You can see we've got 110 gallon watering system here from our downspout from our gutter. This is basically just a kit that we purchased from a hardware store here in town. You can get them online through Amazon and everywhere else. It was like less than 30 bucks. Basically what it does is there's a little rubber stopper in there as a diverter. Water comes down the gutter. It goes into the diverter. It diverts into the barrels. And once the barrels fill up, the water goes right back out the same hose. Goes past a bypass flapper valve and then straight down into the gutter. I installed a spigot out here on the outside of the house, and you can see I've got two hoses coming off of it. I've got one hose going down to a garden hose, and then I've got one doing an S into a 3/4 PVC pipe going in the ground. So, welcome to our garden. But everything is looking really good, so I'm pretty proud of it. We've been doing a lot of hard work. My wife's been helping me, as you guys know if you watch some of my other videos, and I've gotten a handful of new subscribers this week. So you may not know, I had a back injury January, and I had 4 herniated discs, and I dislocated my pelvis and my hip. So I've been on the long road of physical therapy. If you guys remember, I had little Marvel peas in here and sugar snap peas in there. I don't know if it was the birds. I don't know if it was a rabbit. I don't know if it was an alien, a UFO, Bigfoot. I have no idea. But anyway, we come out here and they were all ate off at the ground. I've been told they were birds. I've seen a rabbit out here, but I've never seen him in this patch. I've seen him on the grassy edges out here eating grass and clover, but I've never seen him technically in the garden eating anything. But I did see 2 or 3 birds sitting up here pecking through stuff. I don't know if they were looking at bugs or if they were actually eating what we had. But anyway, I ripped all that out, and I went ahead and put some gourmet blend lettuce in here, some black seeded Simpson lettuce in here, and some champion radishes in here. And what I did was when I ran out of seeds, I just backfilled them with contender bush beans because we had a couple packs of those and I wanted to use them up. So that's what I filled them up with. But as you can see, everything looks a little willy-nilly. I'm not very good at being very patient or anything like that. You notice they are very, 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 and did I say very tiny? Almost to the point where you have to have tweezers to plant them. So what I do is I do the magic fairy dust sprinkle. I just sprinkle the seeds wherever, and when it stops, I get more seeds. That does not work out very well, but it works out okay for now. Next year, I'm going pelleted seeds on everything, but I've got radishes in here. Like I said, I've got another about 100, 150 radish starts. Time allows. Hopefully we can make another bed out here somewhere, either here or I'm going to do another little bed that we can put those radishes in. or we're just going to supplement plant in here. But let's move on from that. We've got red, yellow, and white onions in the ground here. As you can see, we've been topping them off to keep them growing, but keep them from bulbing. So every once in a while you have to come out here. See, as you can see, they're getting ready to start to seed. So we've been coming out here with some snips and just cutting them off. But we're trying to get these things to bulb. As you can see, this is the first year growing a lot of this stuff. So like I said, everything we grew from seeds this year instead of transplants. We've grown from transplants in the past, and it costs so much money to grow a lot of food that way. And so this year I made a plea to myself that I was going to grow everything we have in this garden by seeds, and so far we have done it. So, which is pretty awesome to me. Very big goal of mine was done this year, so I'm pretty ecstatic about that. But we've got our heart garlic going on here. We've got our carrot patch. This is what I'm pretty excited about. I mean, look at this. We've got 3 different kinds of carrots in here. They look great. We've picked a couple just to see what they were going to look like, just out of curiosity, because like I said, we've never grown carrots before. But like I said, we've got 3 different types of carrots. We've got, I can't even remember, I think it's Nantes Corliss. We've got Belgium's number 2, and we've got purple snapdragons, or purple dragons. So pretty excited about what those are going to look like. Like I said, we ate a couple of the purple ones the other day. Me and my wife did, and I thought they were pretty cool. I don't think she cared for them very much, but I really liked them. If you remember last year, this little wooded section right here that we have was our garden last year. And so what we did was I think we probably quadrupled it this year. My wife's a big cherry tomato eater, so we have a lot of cherry tomatoes this year. I've got 3 black cherry tomatoes here that's going to grow up on this panel. It's actually 2 6-foot T-posts welded together, and I've got 2-inch PVC pipe with some connector and some butt ends on it, some 90s, that go up to the top. And the process in this is when you get an indeterminate tomato, you guys probably all know there's 2 types of tomatoes. There's determinate and indeterminate. Indeterminate tomato means you can pull the suckers and the limbs off, and it's going to keep indefinitely growing. As long as you keep telling it to grow or showing it where to grow, it's going to grow. Determinate tomato is already determined in seed how big it's going to get, how many plants or how many seed or how many tomatoes it's going to put on. And if you prune those, you lose tomatoes. So we've got both types here. This is our indeterminate bed here. So what we've got is we've got Black Krim, Cherokee Purple, and Better Boys. These are all of our Better Boys here. As you can see, our Better Boys are putting on buds now, which is pretty cool. That means we're going to be having fruit here pretty soon. But they all look good. They all look healthy. They're all liking this rain. I'm telling you, we're getting rain every day. They're loving this rain. And so I've got to come in here when it dries out a little bit, and I got to get some of these bottom, as you can see over here, I got to get some of these bottom branches pulled up so they don't get blight from the dirt. So we'll take care of that this weekend. I think tonight and tomorrow is supposed to be our next rainstorm. And then from that point on, we're going to be dry for at least 3 or 4 more days. So we'll take care of a lot of that then. We've got 4 large red cherries and 4 more black cherries here. We're using Hortonova trellis this year. If you guys aren't familiar with this, Hortonova trellis is basically just really, really, really thick fishing line, basically. And so I buy a lot of stuff from Haas. I like their company. I like their shows. I like the guys are great to talk to if you got any questions. So I like to support them. But anyway, this is going to be the first year we're using Hortonova trellis. The idea behind this is you don't have to worry about any kind of chicken wire or any kind of cattle fencing or anything when you're done with this. You just snip the zip ties, roll all your dead tomatoes or your dead beans or anything else you've got in it, roll it up, throw it in the fire pit, burn them, and you're done with it. But so we got mammoths in here. My watering system that comes from the house comes out here, as you can see, right here. And it goes into a little hose, which goes into a T over here, which we have a Boogie Blue garden filter. If you guys aren't familiar with that, basically the Boogie Blue filter is to take away chlorine and any contaminants out of your city, municipal, or your county water, your well water, anything like that. I don't think it'll take rust out, but it'll take like calcium, stuff like that out. So you have good water for your garden. So what I do is I got a boogie blue, and then I've got garden hoses that spread out to my different zones so I could do my underground irrigation. But like I said, we'll get into that in another video. Got kohlrabi here. Anyways, you can see it's starting to grow. The bulbs, starting to set the bulbs down. A dense cabbage, so we're going to use it to make coleslaw this year. That's the goal anyway. We're going to try. So you can see they're starting to come along. But so moving on, we've got my potatoes in buckets. We've got red Norlands in these Home Depot buckets, and in the Sutherland buckets we have Yukon Gold. So we did it last year and had a decent fold out of him. Was nothing to, like I said, nothing to write home about, but we only did 10 buckets, and it got a little waterlogged towards the end of the season, and some of them rotted in the bucket. I've got probably about a dozen holes drilled in the bottom of this bucket so that way it'll drain. There's a little bud right there. So they're going to start flowering. So we may get potatoes here in another month or so. Like I said, when they die back is when you guys want to start pulling those out. This is a 30 by 35 patch of okra. You can see the dark lines in there basically is where my rows are. I'm very OCD, so my numbers have to match. I'm an even number guy, not an odd guy. And when we started doing these rows, we had 13 rows all the way across. I realized that we had 13 rows, so we could not stop with 13. I had to do 14 to make. So we added this row back here, this horizontal row back here, to make 14. So I know it's a sickness. It's the thing that I have. I literally, if I would have left it, I probably couldn't sleep at night knowing that I left this without an even number. So we've got jambalaya okra in here. The reason why I started with jambalaya is because jambalaya is known to produce and bring okra on. Like, it's a heavy producer of okra. So we're going to try it this year. I'm a big okra eater. My wife, not so much. Me, a lot. So this right here makes me happy, knowing that I'm going to have a lot of okra to get fried this year and eat. And it's going to be great. Moving on. We have another 20 by 25 patch of squash. I've got 4 rows of squash and zucchini in here. First row this year is a new one for us. It is patty pan, anything like that. And I love grilled squash and onions on the barbecue grill. So that's like one of my big staples besides okra and corn. So patty pans looks amazing. We put these things out in mid-April, and it was still kind of cold here, and they've getting this rain every day. I mean, as you guys can see, they're starting to get big. Like I said, some of these we started by seeds because the seedlings we put in the ground actually died, and we've got some blooms on some of it, as you can see. This is our first row. Like I said, is patty pan. Second row is a yellow straight neck squash. Third row is black beauty zucchini, and the fourth row is black beauty zucchini. Either fried zucchini or zucchini bread. And she makes a phenomenal lemon blueberry zucchini bread with homemade icing on top of it. And I'll tell you what, guys, it is to die for. If you've never had zucchini bread, this is the only way to eat zucchini bread. But it's got the blooms on everything, so that's looks pretty good over here. We kept on top of it, and if you could do that, we didn't have a lot of squash bugs. We had a couple per day. We squashed them, got rid of the eggs, and we didn't. Last year, actually, we had a very good zucchini and squash harvest last year because we hardly had any bugs. The year before, we got overrun by them. So you just got to keep on top of it. Over here, I've got, I think, 12 rows of ambrosia sweet corn. But you can see the drip tapes in here. I can control each one of my rows by shutting and turning on a valve. The purpose behind that is I could do watering way better. I can control the water, less water, and I can fertilize at the same time underground in the middle of the day. The plants get the water at the roots where it belongs, not evaporation in the air. And I definitely don't have to stand here and water this stuff by hand like we have in the past. Anyway, I've got ambrosia in here. I've got 4 rows of Diomede cucumbers. I think there's 14 of them, 12 or 14 in a row, and I've got 4 rows here. So we've got enough cucumbers to go around. They say that these Diomede cucumbers really bring it on when they start producing. What I've heard is 2 to 3 times more than a standard cucumber does, like a Market More or anything like that. Moving on, we've got pickles in this one. My wife is a big homemade pickle maker. So I'm a big homemade pickle eater. So I love hot refrigerator pickles. I'm not a fan of dill pickles. When we usually only plant a couple pickle plants, and that usually lasts us. We could probably do 30 or 40 jars of pickles with a couple plants. This year I've got 6 of them, so hopefully we could do a lot of pickles this year. We've got Boston pickling, another Boston. We've got a national pickling, and some Bostons and Chicagos. Moving on, we have cucumbers in this very first row. So what we've got is we've got munchers. I think we've got 8 or 10 of them in here. As you can see, my wife stuck 2 or 3 seeds per hole so that we make sure we get a good bounty. And then when they start growing up, we'll just pull the one that's not going to make it, and we'll have cucumbers. And then these are Market More 76s. This is what I am proud of right here. This is our tomato and our pepper patch. If it wasn't for my wife's help on a lot of this, there's no way I could have got this done by myself. Like with my back this year and my hip, I had a hard time trying to do anything this spring. So without her help getting this done, there's no way we would have got this done in time. I was worried we were going to lose a lot of our seeds because it was getting later and later in the year. We weren't getting the stuff in the ground, but we pushed through it. She helped me out a lot on the weekends and after work, and we got it done. But what we basically got is I've got 4 rows of tomatoes here with the fence posts, and I've got 4 rows of peppers. Actually 3 rows of peppers, because we stole one to put her large cherries in because she was worried she didn't have enough cherry plants with the 10 or 11 she had over there. So told you she's a big cherry tomato eater. So now she's got 30 cherry tomato plants, large red cherry tomato plants here. We're going to put some more Hortonova trellis on these T-posts when it stops raining. Actually, right now we don't need it because they're not very tall. They're only about 3-4 inches tall, so there's no need to get in a hurry about that yet. So we did our peppers in rows. What I've got is I've got Contender Wonder Bells on the last half of the row, and then I've got mini bells up here. But moving on, we've got jalapenos in here. So we've got 2 different kinds of jalapenos this year. I've got Santa Fe Grandes and I've got Craig's Grandes. We've never tried them before. Usually we just grow like a jalapeno or a I can't remember what that big jalapeno was called. Do you remember, babe, what the big jalapeno was we had last year? Huh? Was it a Mucho Nacho or Mucho Grande or something like that. And they're the ones that you make poppers out of. And I heard that these here really make good poppers. My favorites are habaneros. I am a big habanero eater. So these, first row is West Indies red habaneros. As you can see, these things look good. Makes me hungry every time I come out here. But so we've got our habaneros growing, and I think I've got, I don't know, 12 or 16 of them in this row, and they all look pretty good. I mean, we've had some damage, a little bit sunburn there and there. This one was kind of weird. It kind of surprised me. This one got ate off at the ground. I don't know if a rabbit ate it or something. It was just gone one day, and all that was left was a little stub. So I let my wife, I was going to pull it and put something else in it, and she said, just leave it and see if it'll come back. Well, it's come back. I thought a pepper was like a tomato. If you top it, it stops growing, but apparently it doesn't, so which is good. So it looks a little weak, a little puny. I haven't fed these guys in 2 weeks because of all the rain, so there's some 20, get these guys bruised back up, but they are setting fruit. You guys want to see them? These over here are my Hungarian hot wax banana peppers. As you can see, they're putting fruit on. I've got my peppers, which, like I said, I'm a big pepper eater, so this right here makes me happy. I make a good 7-pepper salsa, which is basically garlic, vinegar, and 7 different hot peppers ground up together that you eat, and basically it will light you up. But that's the peppers. So we've got 4 rows of tomatoes this year. What we've got is, the first row is Bella Roses. The second row is Summer Pick. The third row is, now I'm going to forget. Now I got to go look at the tag. Brickyard. 4th row is Romas. These are our determinate tomatoes. Wooden poles set in the ground, about 5 feet in the ground. Got them on both sides. And I've just basically got some eye bolts through these poles. Some fencing wire here. If you guys are familiar with putting field fence in or barbed wire fencing, when you do hedge posts in the corners, you use this type of wire as an X brace, and then you put a piece of wood or a pipe in between, you twist it up and it tightens the poles together and it pulls the fence tight. Basically, it's the same wire. So I know it's going to be able to handle, if it'll handle pulling a, it'll handle holding up some tomatoes. We've got greenhouse twine. Basically, you can buy this in a box. I think there was, I don't know, 10,000 foot in a box that I bought and last year. And so we've got plenty of it. And we bought tomato clips. So that's T-posts set on the middle of each one of these rows. And I've got a hole drilled through them. And what I've got is, I've got a turnbuckle that you can lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. You can tighten it or loosen it to an eye bolt. I was going to put another eye bolt in here, but the Tractor Supply was out of them because I apparently bought all of them and they never restocked during the coronavirus. So all they had was these in a pinch. So I'm going to put eye bolts in later on, but I bought these for now. Another turnbuckle, and then the wire goes down to a 2.5 foot stake in the ground. So purposely what this is for is that if this wire starts to sag with the fruit droop, I can come in here, redo this turnbuckle, turn it tighter, and basically pull the fence post back and keep it from getting sucked in. It's just as easy, and just it's cheaper. I mean, this wire, I think I got 100 foot of it for less than $15, and I think I've got $25 in hardware. Like I said, this is all on drip irrigation also. As you can see, that's what all these blue caps are. These are actually the end caps to my water lines. Basically, this is a zone by itself. So when I want to feed the tomatoes and everything, I could just water and turn the zones on. We're almost done, guys. I'm sorry. 35 by 75 patch here. What we have is we have 20 cantaloupe and 28 watermelon. So we've got a mixture of ambrosia, Athena, and Hale's Best, if I believe so, on the cantaloupe. And then on the watermelon, we have Crimson and we have Charleston Gray. The Crimson is more of a round beach ball type of watermelon that gets to be about, I don't know. The Charleston Gray is your big oblong shaped watermelon that gets, I like watermelon and cantaloupe, and this year we're going to try to sell some of it again. So we did a bigger patch. Next year we'll have 2 patches like this. Like I said, I've got landscaping fabric. The reasoning behind the landscaping fabric is that it will block the weeds and it keeps the fruit off the dirt. Hopefully that'll keep it cleaner, disease-free, anything like that. And all we did was build the mounds just like everything else. We just built the mounds over the top of the drip tape, fertilized it. But that's pretty much our garden tour this year, guys. Thanks for coming to our garden and checking it out. Wave, babe. Wave. She doesn't like being on the camera, so she tries to hide from me. Every time she sees me coming, she goes the opposite direction. But anyway, guys, thanks for coming to our garden, checking it out. Thanks for letting us intrude on your life for just a little bit today. Thank you to a YouTuber. I had a YouTube channel get a hold of me yesterday and asked me how I was doing, if there was anything they could do to help me out, or how I was feeling. It is Cindy and Gary with Pathways Homestead. They're another homesteader slash gardener here in Kansas. And it's funny how you become friends with people that you never met. I've never met them. I've talked to them through some Facebook forums that we both belong to. And they reached out to me yesterday, noticed that I haven't been on YouTube, and they wanted to talk to me and see how I was doing. You know, they were planting sweet potatoes today, so it's very interesting. It just amazes me how people nowadays will look out for other people. You know, back when I was a kid, you know, I'm on the backside of 40 going into 50, and you know, there was no internet, there was no social media, there was nothing like that. You respected your neighbor, you respected your elders, you checked up on people, and nowadays you don't get that. People don't even shake hands anymore, and that was pre-COVID-19. It just amazes me that there's still people out there that still think about people and are very considerate. So I just want to say thank you guys. Make sure you guys check out their channel. that's enough of me blabbing on right now. I will let you guys go. Till the next one.